Good afternoon to distinguished speakers, colleagues, and dear participants. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to the webinar on fostering entrepreneurial mindsets among faculty and students, hosted by the Confederation of Indian Private Universities. CIPU is a national level platform committed to strengthening the voice, visibility, and value of private universities in India. We foster to academic excellence, policy advocacy, and institutional collaboration by connecting thought leaders from academia, industry, and government. So today's webinar aims to explore effective strategies for cultivating entrepreneurial mindsets among both faculty and students, highlighting the critical role educational institutions play in fostering innovation and creativity. Before we begin the session, it is my privilege to introduce our distinguished panelists who will be guiding and enriching today's discussion. But first, let us welcome our moderator for the session, Dr. Vinod Shastri. He is an entrepreneurship educator with over 40 years of experience in teaching, training, administration, and entrepreneurial practice. He has served as the Dean of Student Affairs and Head of Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Bennett University and as the Deputy Director at Symbiosis, a co-founder of a startup and co-author of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report. He is widely recognized as a culture builder who truly practices what he teaches. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Our first panelist for today is Professor Yogesh Brahmankar. As Innovation Director at the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, Government of India, he drives initiatives to nurture student entrepreneurs and foster an entrepreneurial mindset across the education sector. With 24 years of experience in industry and academia, including the last decade as entrepreneurship educator, he is passionate about building a culture of innovation, entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship. A certified Six Sigma practitioner, he brings practice in quality management and operation excellence to strengthen educational programs and incubation initiatives. I welcome you, sir. Our second panelist for today is Professor Ismail. Professor Ismail Akbani is the CEO of AIC Mahindra, where he has been instrumental in building the Atal Incubation Center, startups from Mahindra University, supported by AIC Mahindra, have raised over 5.5 crores in funding and grants. Previously, he led innovation initiatives at Symbiosis, where he founded the Entrepreneurship Program and Innovation Cell, earning national recognition and securing grants to design impactful entrepreneurship programs. I welcome you, sir, for this discussion. Our third panelist is Mr. Ronald Fernandez. Ronald Fernandez is the CEO of AIC RNTU Foundation, Bhopal, an incubation center supporting 130 plus startups under the Atal Innovation Mission. With over 30 years of multi-domain experience across education, IT, and manufacturing, he also serves as a venture partner at Venture Catalyst. Previously, he worked with the National Entrepreneurship Network, mentoring premier institutions like IIT Bombay, NIMS, and Symbiosis. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
Our fourth panelist for today is Mr. Manish Mathur, an entrepreneur educator with a passion of shaping young startups for ideation to learner revenue. He is known for his go-do attitude and focus on building scalable, investable businesses. Currently serving as Assistant General Manager at Bennett University, he has monitored ventures across India, the UK, and South Asia. We welcome you, sir, for the panel discussion. A very warm welcome to our distinguished panelists, and thank you for joining us today. So for the next 1 hour, let us immerse ourselves in an engaging conversation with our panelists on the theme. This is going to be a power-packed session filled with insights and inspirations. Towards the end, we'll also take some few questions. So Please feel free to post them in the chat box or simply raise your hands and we'll bring you in. So let's dive into the session and make this an exciting sessions together. So over to you, Dr. Vinod, sir.
Thank you so much, Snehal, for that warm welcome and very generous introductions. That actually tells me that there's about 100 absolutely right there. I mean, spot on. So the purpose here, once again, a warm welcome to all the panelists and, of course, the wonderful audience. I know it's there are there in large numbers, though we don't actually see that number. So what I actually hope to get out of this webinar is three things. One is bust a few myths, because as I said, about 100 years of entrepreneurship education experience. So I'm very sure that along the way a few myths must have been busted. We would really like to see that. And the other thing I would like to see is get to know some of the best practices across the country, because people like so Yogesh, Brahmankar, and Ronald, they have worked across the country, and so whatever best practices we could get to know about, we would love to have that. And last but not the least, feel a lot more empowered to foster the entrepreneurial mindset wherever we are working. It may be amongst our colleagues, peers, or within our students. So these are the three things I'll be really looking forward to get out of this session, and of course to have a lot of fun along the way. So may I begin with so Yogesh Brahmankar, because he is sitting there in the Ministry of Education, and obviously he's probably in the current lot. He's in touch with the maximum number of campuses, if I may say that. So, Yogesh sir, I would like to really know from you, why to even foster the entrepreneurial mindset? There are so many kinds of mindsets which many other experts from different fields would want to foster. So why foster entrepreneurial mindset in the first place?
Very interesting question. Thank you so much, sir. And once again, very good afternoon, mindset. So I'm sure everyone would agree there is no fixed answer to this. And entrepreneurship is also not only about startups or businesses, but it's actually a way of life. Would I would say. And what's coming to my mind, why when you mentioned that there are so many other mindsets also. Last Saturday, I was traveling to a company called Subros in Manesar from Delhi from my office, and they were doing something on skill development, entrepreneurship, and they called me. And the car was sent by the company, and the driver was an employee of a company.
Mhm.
But believe me, when he called me on Friday evening, it was pure English.
Oh.
He mentioned his name, sir, I am so and so. I am your driver from Subros, and tomorrow morning is your pickup. I was not shocked, but I was really amazed for sure the way he spoke. And that time when he called me, I was really occupied in a very important meeting. And I said, I will call you back. And that time I did not realize it was driver. To be very frank, I realized it later on when I called back on the same number कि आप कौन बात कर रहे हो? He said, sir, मैंने आपको कॉल किया था. मैंने आप ही ने कॉल किया था. The second thing, when I traveled with him, and why I'm mentioning when I traveled with him, then he started. It's our hobby, and I'm sure Professor Ismail knows very well. You start talking to people and start understanding कि क्या चल रहा है. Because I wanted to know more about company first thing. Okay, because I'm going to that company. Whatever I knew. But if I get to know from such a driver who is an engaged employee, and then he started sharing, and two things what he mentioned really stuck me. And I think here is something about this mindset. One thing he said, कि सर 25-30,000 में तो गुजारा तो नहीं होता है, बहुत मुश्किल है. लेकिन क्या है ना सर, एक फैमिली बन जाता है ना. कंपनी में 5-6 साल से मैं हूँ. सी द एंगेजमेंट, द वे अप्रोच. I did not ask him कि फिर तुम कैसे कर रहे हो. The next line he said, so my wife है sir, is there sir. उसको ब्यूटी पार्लर का कोर्स करा दिया है एंड मैंने एक ऐप बना लिया, उसको लोगों को लिए कांटेक्ट उसने. ओके. एंड शी मेक 70,000 सर. ओके.
Amazing.
ओके.
Amazing.
So what I saw in Shalu Yadav was the name of the driver. In Shalu Yadav is this mindset, because though he has limitations, he did not actually live with those limitations. Okay. It's not about making money also. It's not about making money. The way Shalu Yadav is functioning, I look at him as a very good engaged employee, but I also look at him as he told me, if I'm sure all of you will be surprised, whole story of development of Manesar in our to and fro journey,
Oh,
without me asking too much. I asked
okay.
only one or two questions while going. When he saw this person is interested, he told me the whole Dwarka expressway story also. इससे क्या फायदा हो रहा है, कितना टाइम. So you see, this is mindset. And the person who then makes his wife not only get the course done, how she makes money, he ensures how she is getting to get the customer order or getting connected to customer. So it's a way of life. And it's all fun. And my personal experience is since I got introduced to such this thing, we used to have in Wellingkers a very interesting ex-army man teaching us entrepreneurship. And the way he used to bring concepts, ex-army man became entrepreneur post. That time he was teaching us when he was an entrepreneur. The way he introduced, and I think that's the time I was introduced to this overall piece of, you can say, a thought process. So it's nothing like very different also from our overall perspectives or day to day, but it's more about something which you really enjoy that. And I think it brings that kind of maybe dopamine or different kinds of things up, and then you are more excited. So
So
in
the
short,
kind of the examples you gave, the two examples are completely two poles apart. Like somebody is a driver and the other person is an army man who is teaching at a B school. But you can see similarities in their mindset. I mean, that
yes,
is that what you're trying to say? That it's a way of life and nothing to do with business per se.
yes, yes, yes. And
Okay,
it's
thank
more
you.
about enjoying that excitement in life. That is entrepreneurial mindset. More of
Okay.
observations, and then you are just making your own what you can say equations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Ronald, I think, this fostering of entrepreneurship happened in India primarily because of Advani Foundation, if I may dare say that, because till that time, of course, there was a wish that it would happen, but there was no mechanism to make it happen. And it's probably Vadvani Foundation and its National Entrepreneurship Network initiative that probably did it at scale in India. And as I understand, I mean, you were a part of that movement right in the beginning. Maybe was it around 2005, 2006? Is that correct? So,
True, absolutely, yeah.
so how did you all did it? Because it was at scale. So, if you could also give us some idea, what was the real scale of it, and how you did that fostering of entrepreneurship across the board.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Vinod. Vadvani Foundation, I think, did an amazing job. So today, India has become the third largest foundation, NEN. When I remember, I mean, you were also involved in Vadvani Foundation. We know, when we used to go to colleges and talk about entrepreneurship and, startups, that terminology was, I mean, not of people were not even aware of that terminology. Startups, kya hota hai, what is entrepreneurship. And I think NEN Vadvani Foundation did amazing job in that. So what NEN did was they worked with youngsters, capable youngsters who could have actually have multiple job offers. they gave this option of entrepreneurship to them. I mean, entrepreneurship could be also a career substitute. Why to just think about only jobs? Entrepreneurship could be also career substitute. So NEN worked with premium institutes, good institute, where capable students were involved. We did a lot of sessions and workshop. Initially, resource was were called from Stanford, and I'm Bangalore was also involved. We did a lot of FDPs. So a lot of colleges wanted to do something on startups and entrepreneurship, but they were not aware what to do. So NEN did FDPs for faculties to take these kind of initiative in their college, and we actually guided them how they can promote entrepreneurship and introduce entrepreneurship in various colleges across the country. So if I'm not wrong, we were operating in around 16 cities that time. We had around 500 odd institutes. And secondly, what amazing thing which NEN did was worked with the students also. So we formed entrepreneurship club that time. Again, this concept was very new. There were student leaders who actually took initiative and did various activities which were related to entrepreneurship. Through students, we introduced a lot of concepts of entrepreneurship in colleges. So, entrepreneurship is something like swimming. I mean, you can't learn swimming standing at the edge of the pool. You have to take a dip. So that's what I think Vadvani Foundation did an amazing job, where students were also involved. And under the guidance of faculty, students took a lot of initiative, lot of activities toward entrepreneurship they did. And this is how I think we started that journey of entrepreneurship and introduced. India was always entrepreneurial, but somehow our education system was not focusing on that. So perhaps that's what something which initially Vadvani Foundation did. Really happy to be involved in that, and I know you were also involved. We did a very good job in initiating entrepreneurship in the country.
Okay, thank you so much. And then, of course, the next generation has taken over that space by storm, which includes,
Yeah.
of course, Professor Ismail as well as Manish Mathur. So this is a young brigade which has really taken it up. So, Professor Ismail, I know for sure that you have a thing for design thinking, and you're really used it as a tool for fostering that mindset, entrepreneurial mindset. So, could you please throw some light? What exactly is the relevance of design thinking to an entrepreneurial mindset, and about maybe some of your own experiments, if you would want to share.
Yeah. So, good. Thank you so much. And trying to bring in any into symbiosis at that time. And yes, we were also one of those people who were not allowing him to do that initially. And today we are here. But that life comes a full circle someday, right? So when we talk about design thinking, I normally say that to me, one of my definition of startups is a startup is a agent of change uh, to solve problems for the people the way they want it solved. And then if you go and look at the definition of design, you'll find the same thing that design is a method by which you solve problems for people the way they want it to solve, right? So technically, if you see definition wise, to me, design and startups they go hand in hand. But the only difference is when we talk about design thinking, typically, when designers talk about it or when engineers talk about design thinking, the focus is only on the product or service that you're building. So I want to empathize with the people, I want to understand my users, and I want what kind of features do I add, how the functionality should look, how should be the aesthetics. It is all around the product part of it. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think that one thing and it's still missing link probably is as entrepreneurs, we need to apply design thinking in every aspect. So of course, product has to go through design thinking, but I think everywhere the way your marketing campaign design has to be as per design thinking. Your HR policies should align with design thinking. The way you communicate internally, externally, and I think that is where we usually miss that part. The product में कर लिया, product design thinking से बना लिया, it's okay, but then that's why teams run away. You have attrition rates, investors and the startups don't align well. So that is one thing I think even the strategy, your entire strategy, be it your sales strategy, be it your financial strategy, everything has to be done through design thinking lens. I think that is a very, very important aspect. And to me, one of the core tenets of design thinking is two or three tenets, I think. One is when we say design thinking, fortunately or unfortunately, we have started equating design thinking equals to empathy. And I put a slide also somewhere, एक वो बन गया कि empathy के लिए design thinking हो गया. If it
Yes.
was there, then I think there was no need for a separate term for that. Why would we call it design thinking? We would just call it empathy, right?
Empathy.
So I think design thinking is much more than empathy, though empathy is a very fundamental and central aspect of design thinking. But and two things that mean a lot to me. One is of course the testing and prototyping part of it, but more than that, one part that gets skipped, I think somehow, is the reframing part of it. So I think for me, the beauty of design thinking is how you reframe that problem statement itself,
Okay.
right? Because if you're able to reframe it in a better way, better solutions will emerge on its own. So that's the relevance, I think. And most of the startups that you see, successful entrepreneurship endeavors, is basically they saw a problem out there, and a lot of people were trying to solve the same problem. But the people who succeeded, they were able to reframe that problem in a different lens. The different you talk about Airbnb, right? They did not talk about just providing accommodation. They reframed the entire problem of accommodation, right, from a cultural aspect. So I think that is one thing very, very important and relevant when it comes to entrepreneurship. Personally, also, we keep doing a lot of experiments like this. One of the things I think, on a lighter note, is that when I joined Symbiosis back in 2011, I was a fresh faculty, and there was an unsaid rule that you do not allow students on your Facebook. You don't accept Facebook requests from students. Back then, I'm talking 15 years ago, right? And when I started accepting requests from students, some of my colleagues would say, this is inappropriate, this is not professional. Now today, everybody, all of them have students on their Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. But my idea was that I wanted to know what's happening in their life. So I have a lot of students that follow me on Instagram. I follow a lot of students on Instagram. The only reason is I get to know what series they are watching recently. And then those series, whatever they are watching, the memes of that series make a place in my classroom presentation.
Ah.
Yeah, so I used it in destructive also. I remember 2016, 17. I think this Avengers movie Endgame was coming. This the second part, I think, and there was a lot of hype around it. And Friday, I was teaching a course on fluid mechanics, and I remember very vividly. I had kept my practical examination on that day. Friday, the movie was releasing. 11:30, the Viva was supposed to start, and 9 a.m. the kids come and say, "Sir, Avengers is releasing. We have booked the entire theater. E Square, हमने पूरा book किया. We all want to go. Can you please postpone this?" Initially, I said no, but then I thought a weekend. I said, "Okay, let me apply my design thinking over here." I said, "Okay, instead of the Viva, I'll conduct a quiz. I'll put a 10 marks Google form quiz. No Viva. All of you do the quiz, and you go." I put a very difficult quiz, of course. But at the end of the quiz, when they submitted the Google form, there was a link. It said, "Thank you for submitting the quiz. If you want to see your result, please click on this link." And they all went to click on that link excitingly. When they clicked on the link took them to a YouTube video that was spoiler of Avengers Endgame.
Oh.
And that was the day after that. Next 2 years, that batch never came to me to ask for a postponement of exam.
No, and we are all eager to hear about your other experiments as well. So I'll of course come back to you. I'll quickly go to Manish because he said maybe he'll be on the road, and that's why connectivity might be an issue. So Manish, there's a very big, I don't know whether a myth or to call it, or belief that if you want to be an entrepreneurship educator, you need to be an entrepreneur. I mean, how true is that? How fair is that? Or is it a myth? So if you could throw some light on that. Manish, I'm
So,
assuming you're there. Yes.
yes. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. And yes, thank you for acknowledging that. Yes, I am on the way, but yeah, no problem. It's chauffeur driven, so no problem.
Okay.
So yes, sir, the question you asked, that the myth you said, one has to be an entrepreneur. To some extent, we do agree, but then it depends, because if you see in our sir, to just to inform everybody here, sir and I worked very closely together in Bennett University, and as a team, sir has guided well, and a lot of things we have done in Bennett. So that's something I wanted to inform everybody. And to also say, yes, the team we had in Bennett, all of the team members had an entrepreneurial experience. So everybody had started something. Be it Sir, the founder of Yorkshire in Pune. Most of you who are from Pune would be knowing it. To all of us even doing a humble startup, maybe having something into travel. So everybody did that. So when somebody is coming from that background, they understand the pain point, the struggle of an entrepreneur very well. So that's something which helps. But then, sir, the contradictory part also we have seen that people coming from non-startup background also, have really well, they have mentored and they have supported startups in their own way. But
Okay.
uh, one thing which sir, you and me both always agreed to is the art of asking questions. That how well, because as an entrepreneur also, say for example you are from a particular domain, say you are from IT, from tech domain, and you have to mentor a social startup. You may not know the domain well, but if you ask the right set of questions, being an educator, yes, but being a mentor also helps a lot. When the startup is being formed, asking the right set of questions so the startup take the ownership of their decision on their own. So, I hope this
Absolutely. So
answers
I
your
think what
question,
I
sir.
gather
Yeah.
from this is, fostering entrepreneurship as an educator is not about being an entrepreneur, but about being a mentor, which
Being
essentially
a
means
mentor.
asking the right kind of questions. Is that what you meant?
Yes, the right
Okay.
questions. Because when we nurture a student, not necessarily they may get into a forming a startup, but that mindset has to be built, which is curious, which asks questions, which is a mind which get the answer by its own. I mean, doesn't seek answer from people. It go and seek answer from different sources, and don't just believe one source.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I think, particularly in the audience, there are likely to be, many people, many faculty members, particularly, again, coming from say, technical background, they might feel that, I mean, if I don't have a startup of my own, I don't have an experience, first-hand experience, or if I'm not exposed to business education as well, then I may not be, really qualified. So that actually, busts that myth that, anybody, any educator particularly could be an entrepreneurship educator, if they have the art of asking the right kind of questions. So I will come back to you, and I'll hope that, you'll be able to connect as well. So coming back to Yogesh sir, of course, I'm anyways coming to you, but you have raised your hand, so you already have something. Please go ahead.
So, on the last question, which was asked to Manish, so I think it's a big spectrum, and people like Ismail would be on the very much right side on the spectrum of an entrepreneurship educator. Of course, need not to be an entrepreneur, but the mindset should be a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset
Okay.
of that. Very true. And you can go to the extreme of that, like what Ismail does, कि एक टी-शर्ट उल्टा पहन के क्लास में जाओ and class लो. And then people just looking at him, sometimes laughing, and somebody is telling in the and not jao means you have to go from your house to the so from the he stays in campus from his uh, accommodation residence in the campus to the
I
particular
I
class.
I went from Hyderabad to Warangal around 2.5 hours in the Ulta shirt, where I was the chief guest for that event in the Ulta t-shirt.
So this is the extreme right side of the spectrum of not only growth mindset, but you should be comfortable to come out of that comfort zone. So having that comfort of thinking beyond the traditional things, that these two things would be, I would say, mandatory. Ismail would also agree upon the you should be so you should
So
be
as an
okay with the
educator,
odds. That
so
is
you're,
that mindset is required.
so you're talking about the educator's mindset.
Educator's mindset.
So,
Yes.
I will, of course, come back to you, but you're tempting me to go to Ismail again,
Yes.
asking what are the, uh, substitutes to wearing a ulta t-shirt to be an entrepreneurship educator.
Yeah. So lot
I
of
may not be able to do that.
I'll show you. I actually knew where Yogesh sir mentioned, so I was just thinking if I can share the screen, I want to show you something, and I think you will recall that photo. If I don't know if it comes, I just opened the email, and if you can see this.
Yes, I remember this very well.
So
In fact,
that's
I
that's
was
the part of
thinking
the
of
these are
this.
all faculty members. This is the part of our faculty development program we did, and so that's one substitute. And we made it compulsory for people if they had to ask a question to the speaker, they had to wear that hat or something. Right? So a lot of those things sometimes we in the same faculty development program we encourage faculty on one day that you do something differently. So there was one faculty, one dean actually, who came up with two different socks in two different legs, one black and one red, and he was showing. And somebody came with something else. Somebody put some ladies' jewelry around their neck, and they were moving around. A male faculty with a ladies' jewelry all day, and said, "Sir, see, I'm doing this." And at the end of the day, they came and said, "This is my most transforming experience I've had, because theory to hum padhte rehte hain, but this is something that I did today, which you encourage us to do. This will actually make me more push myself out of the comfort zone when I talk to the students."
This is amazing. I mean, I did say that, I know there are quirky ways that you have, used in the past. And these are some of the best practices that, I really wanted the audience to know about. So I'm going back to Yogesh ji. So, pardon me for, asking very specific ministry related questions, because, you are the only one in this panel who has, a role in that. So, what are some of the things that the Ministry of Education has done, maybe in the recent past? Because there could be something that we did long back, but in the recent past, if there are some things that you have done to foster the entrepreneurial mindset, we would really like to know about them.
Wonderful. Yes, sir. See, basically, Ministry of Education's innovation cell, we are actually into cultural intervention. When our higher authorities, means not Dr. Jere, except beyond Dr. Jere, when they look at it, they really look at outcome, and we both keep talking about this is what we did, a cultural intervention, and this is the impact of the cultural. So, to be point blank, Ministry of Education's innovation cell and the initiatives, we are into cultural intervention. We are into creating and spreading problem-solving mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, and of course, enhancing employability, because the similar mindset is required. Maybe you might be the right person to take it ahead as an entrepreneurial mindset also. The initiatives, what we have been doing, if you look at what is on today, is Smart India Hackathon. Smart India Hackathon, this is the 8th edition. It has nurtured the problem-solving mindset and the curious minds in the institutions, not only for the students, but even for the faculty members.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will give some examples also. But that is Smart India Hackathon, which is an open innovation platform where opportunity for students to come ahead. And for Prime Minister Modi, it is government, student participation in government. But for us as an intervention, it is promoting that problem solving mindset, giving that opportunity to contribute to problem solving, which is also taking care of experiential learning, because direct application is required. Yeah. Second is we conduct boot camps, which innovation, design, and entrepreneurship boot camps, where I think Professor Ismail has been one of the trainers on behalf of Wadhwani Foundation again. And these boot camps, if you see IDE, Innovation, Design, and Entrepreneurship, this is again 5 days boot camp, where we are looking at students who are trying to pursue something, not the students who have their startups. Again, it's a part of cultural intervention. And these boot camps, we were able to nurture more than, I will say, 15,000 students across the country. Because in that, all in hackathon and boot camps, we also take care that they come out of their institution and travel to different locations. So their worldview also changes, and they become a part of team with different group. And trainer comes from a different part of country, and it's a gathering of 200 250 people. All these things are very much required, which we felt that not only to meet the requirements, okay, or go ahead for Viksit Bharat, Ek Bharat, Shrestha Bharat, but only for creating that kind of mindset, giving that maybe an opportunity for students to explore and change their worldview. These two are very big initiatives which we have been doing. Similar initiatives we are practicing for school students, school innovation. And one of our structured initiative, which Professor Ismail was in meeting before he joined here, he said IIC, Institutions Innovation Council, which is a structure and a framework given to an institution, which is nothing but institutionalization of effort of a mad faculty in an institution. So in your era where I think where Ronald or you were trying to enter institutions through Akbani Foundation, that era, there used to be one mad faculty or one champion who used to promote entrepreneurship, and some directors supported or some principals supported or some of them not supported. Otherwise, that champion was not able to. So through IIC, what we have done, we have institutionalized, given a structure, given a portal, given a set of activity, a calendar of activity, an opportunity for students and faculty to come together and develop something.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what we are trying to do through Ministry of Education's innovation cell. There are multiple initiatives which are again linked and attached. Many things revolve around Smart India Hackathon also, because there is an alumni portal, then there is Investor Connect. So it goes to next level also. But it's a platform for students, teachers to come. And one point I would like to come back to Smart India Hackathon, which I said I will come back. Teachers also. I met one teacher in rural Karnataka. I forgot his name. Yesterday or 2 days back, I reposted up his post on LinkedIn also. So, and he said, "Hello, sir, I want to meet you and one of the boot camps, and thank you so much for this opportunity." I said, "Fine." And he says, "Last 2 years, my students have been participating, and more than 30 teams have participated in Smart India Hackathon. And my two teams are winner for last year and earlier year also. And this was month of May." And he says, next thing is that for next upcoming hackathon, where we did not have hackathon launched, he said, for upcoming, I'm already preparing 6 teams.
Oh.
Okay. See the mindset which is active in faculty members. Now, if you take mota ek number, we will be having at least 10,000 such faculty members in India waiting for Smart India Hackathon.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for that lowdown on the SIH, as well as, a couple of other things. So I will be coming back to you, because I know that, you have been doing stuff for faculty members through FDPs,
Yes,
and
yes.
also
I'll come back on this.
at the school level as well. So I really, I'm looking forward to coming back to that. Now I'm moving to Ronald, because, Ronald, you are probably, exclusively with an incubator, right? So I wanted to ask this question to Manish as well later on, but I'll start with you. So now, what role does the incubator play in building the mindset? Because I'm focusing on the mindset here.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks a lot, Vinod. So, Vinod, the mindset is most important thing. So, as I typically always say, incubation center works on 3 levels. First is just introducing, entrepreneurship to the students, building the mindset. And there we focus a lot on, so what is entrepreneurship? I mean, it's a kind of a mindset which involves, problem solving, taking initiatives, taking ownership. So that's what entrepreneurship is all about. You may or may not start your venture, but these skills are important. So as I typically always say in my orientation sessions with college student is, you may not start any venture, but have that entrepreneurial mindset and go out of this college. I mean, develop that entrepreneurship mindset. Even if you are, heading a small branch which has 4 or 5 people, you'll have to think like an entrepreneur. So if you're leading any small team also, you have to think, holistically, not just I'm a sales guy, so I think about sales. If I am a, HR guy, I'm thinking of HR. So if you're even leading a small branch, you have to think like an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship. So you may or may not start your venture, but entrepreneurship mindset, if you really want to climb the ladder of success, entrepreneurship mindset is important. As I typically always say, Reliance is not just successful because of Mukesh Ambani. He needs people to lead petroleum industry, retail, and they have to think like an entrepreneur. So if you really want to climb the ladder of success, you have to develop and focus on problem solving. And I give this always example of this, if Ganesh ji ka pandal is being set up at your colony, and you are taking an initiative and, voluntarily getting involved, nobody is forcing you. That shows that you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you are taking initiative, you are coming out of your comfort zone and contributing to, success of an event. So that's what we focus on. So one is we work on entrepreneurial mindset with colleges. Second is once they are interested, we work more on deeper skills like how to start an venture, what nuances are involved in that. And important for us is, it helps in building our pipeline. So once people have taken that call that I want to
Okay.
start, they become our incubatees, or they become our
Correct.
potential, people who get incubated in our incubation center, and there we support them in taking their
That,
venture to the next level. So entrepreneurial mindset is important regardless of. So focus is sow a seed in their mind and lead them. They may
so
or may not start a venture in future. So that's what we are trying to do through our incubation center also.
absolutely. So two points I gathered there. One is entrepreneurial mindset is relevant in any walk of life, as we began in
Absolutely.
the beginning. And the second point you're saying, you have a self-interest as an incubator CEO in building a pipeline for your
Absolutely.
own self through that mindset.
Yeah.
At least some of them would actually take to doing a startup. Okay, I'm actually taking the same question to Manish, assuming you're there, Manish. Is not just the role, but what uh, things, what activities, what steps has Bennett Hatchery, as one of the leading on-campus incubators, has done? What steps has Bennett Hatchery taken in this direction? Manish, I'm assuming you're there. Okay, maybe I'll come back to you a little later. Because Ismail, so you are also a CEO at an incubator, and I did want to come back to you and understand what innovative stuff you are doing. I know you're doing something called
Hello.
Eureka something something.
Yeah, Eureka evenings.
Yeah, Manish, I think was there. Manish, if you are able to connect, then you can answer, and then we go back to Eureka.
Yeah, so initiatives you are talking about. So I'll just
Yes.
quickly want to add, and I will also connect to the previous question that the very presence of an incubator within an university itself is a big push for entrepreneurial mindset. So I wanted to add that point because when you have incubator within a university and you get success story coming out from fellow students, and nowadays thanks to
Okay.
Ministry of Education, Yogesh sir and team, NISP has also pushed and given a way for faculties to start their startups. So these things encourage brings encouragement within the fraternity, within the university, that they can also, anybody can start and actually see what startup is. So that creates mindset, and if they succeed or they even play around with their idea, that goes with them as a mindset. So that was something
Okay.
I wanted to add.
Okay.
Apart from this, from the initiative perspective, sir, I'll say a lot of initiatives, but one key thing to promote entrepreneurship within campus, one of the event that we do is Bennett, which is 2-day entrepreneurship summit. It's an annual summit, and wherein we call ecosystem players, who's and who's of ecosystem, to to be there on campus, create that vibe, see the existing vibe what we have, and help us build it more, which is always a very encouraging factor. The teams start working from months back. So nowadays our teams are working to actually organize this in the month of November. 14th and 15th November it is planned for this year. And by
Okay.
this, and I'm taking this chance to also invite everybody present here to please come to Bennett University,
Now that's
see
that
what we're
that's what
doing in Bennett.
entrepreneurial mindset is all about. I mean, never leaving an opportunity to market. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can say so. So I would be very happy, to invite everyone. Please come to Bennett and see what we're doing in entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Sure. I'll of course come back to you. And but I'm really curious to know about the Eureka evenings, Ismail sir.
Yeah. So again, being an on-campus incubator, one thing is that we keep in coming in touch with the students a lot, and as Ronald also mentioned, while we also trying to help them, but in a way they also become a pipeline for us also as incubators. And though we want to support startups irrespective of the university affiliation or not, but because we are funded by the university and all, so we do have a soft corner for the startups that come from the university, and we want to give more support to them, be it start students and faculty. And being on campus incubator, typically you are the first point of contact for the students also. So once they start knowing that these are the people working incubator, they support startups. So anytime they have an idea, so that's how the initiative came up when I joined, and we have Professor Rajkumar Fatate also over here and some other faculty members. So I used to take some classes here and there also. So after a class or sometimes in the at the mess, some student will come up to you, walk in, sir, I have a startup idea I want to discuss with you. And while we as entrepreneurship educators are always excited, we know that's music to our ears. Oh, somebody's coming with a startup idea, but then it's not always practically possible to give them time then and there. You might be in the middle of something, and then you tell them, why don't you come next week to my office and meet? And half of those time, those meetings never happen. They forget, you forget. And so we said, why don't we create a platform, a regular platform where the students can come and pitch their ideas? Now we also do, as Manish mentioned, Entrepreneurship Summit. So we also do in the second semester event called Entrepex. That's our Entrepreneurship Summit, which is done by the entrepreneurs, still primarily done by the students, but as an incubator, we support that event.
Okay.
But what happens, I realize that when events like this happen, only the students who are very confident about presenting about their idea, who can get on the stage, they are the ones who dare to even apply. But then there are a lot of those shy students, introvert students who are very smart, who are the people behind the scenes, but they don't want to speak up. And they would
Mhm.
never even apply because they are afraid of even going in front of teaching or in front of a panel of jury and going to some other college and applying. So we said, why not create a platform where the focus is on the idea and everything else is stripped off? We don't want anything. So we created something called Eureka Evenings, intentionally giving it the name of evenings, that once in a month, almost typically last Wednesday of every month, we have this 3 to 4 hours wherein the students, any student across the Mahindra University, be it a BTech, MTech, PhD, MBA student, if they have an idea, they can come walk in with or without a PPT. My slogan is that even if the Eureka concept that we talk about Archimedes, that even if this morning while showering you had an idea and you want to come and present, come and stand and say, I was taking a shower, I have this idea, I don't know what to do, please help me. And they do come, and we all the faculty from the Center for Entrepreneurship, the incubation team, we said there's no external evaluator, and we just listen to the idea, and then the only thing we're trying to evaluate is how committed and serious, sincere the student is about taking that idea further.
Okay.
And if we see that interest, then we then ask them to come back to the incubator. And now once they have met us, that initial ice breaking happens. So now they're more likely to come and visit us. And we, if they don't come, sometimes we follow. Hey, you presented last week. What happened? What's the update? So through that, we have been able to build a pipeline also, and some very good students have been able to come and present who would otherwise probably not have presented because of some other fears. But here is a very informal thing. We laugh, we do chit chat, we have fun with them, and we tell them right in the beginning that you can do whatever you want here. Just tell us your idea. We are hungry for ideas. And so far, I think we started December 23. I think so far we had around more than, I was counting last Eureka we did last this Wednesday, more than 400 students, 500 students approximately have come and presented that in 1.5 years.
Wow, that's phenomenal number actually. But you're actually tempting me to ask this question. So, what's more important, that mindset or the ideas?
So we, of course, mindset top priority, hands down, no question. Without you complete, before you complete the question, mind, and that's what I said. When we look at it, the idea is because idea will change over the period of time. But what we want to see is that is this guy really into it, wanting to do it, or is he just coming out of wanting to impress somebody? Some students come because of that also, because they have a course on entrepreneurship in that very semester, and they think if I go and pitch in Eureka winning, the professor is hitting, he will be impressed, and probably in my internals I'll get more marks. So those kind of things also happen, but the focus is of course on the mindset, and as we believe, because and more than idea, I think more than the idea, it's the problem. The
Okay,
problem has to be nailed down because the solution might emerge and change over times.
absolutely. Yeah, wonderful to hear that. That mindset, focus on the mindset. So, when Manish spoke, he mentioned very briefly in passing about NISP. So that actually, brings me to Yogesh ji again, because NISP again is, an initiative of Ministry of Education. So but again, presuming that some of those in the audience may not be aware of that, could you throw some light on what is NISP, what is the purpose, and what are the outcomes that the ministry is looking to get out of NISP?
Yes, sir.
So almost
So,
like a primer on NISP.
so it's a national innovation and startup policy for faculty and students.
Okay.
So the policy is applicable to higher education institutions. Similar policy is there for schools from our department also.
Okay.
But this is mainly what the policy which we look at is for universities and higher education institutions. National Innovation and Startup Policy for faculty and students. If students and faculty pursue their innovative ideas and want to or come up with the startups or startup ideas, how institutions should handle them, uh, look at them, and support them in all the ways in terms of time, in terms of funding, in terms of policies, in terms of different structures at the institution level. So, and decisions. So, decisions are related to what kind of budget universities should reserve. NISP used to say that 1%, but it is too much for institutions sometimes. So, it is a policy guideline. Institutions can draft their own policy, taking inputs from overall NISP. There is
Okay.
nothing something like mandatory from NISP.
Okay. That was my question actually. So you already
Yes,
answered it.
it's
It's
a
not
guideline.
mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
It's not.
Every institution is supposed to develop its policy within these boundaries and the framework of NISP.
Okay. So could you give us some numbers? I mean, how many institutions actually have a startup policy?
3,200 institutions in country have displayed their startup policy NISP as NISP. 3,200 plus. Somewhere between 3,200 to 3,300. The number keeps fluctuating. Some new institutions have now adopted recently. And when we say they have adopted, that means they have designed, developed the policy as per this suggestive policy, adopted to more or less certain very important guidelines related to faculty and student startups. See, there are some very ambitious guidelines also related to giving sabbatical to faculty or a student,
Correct.
or giving even sabbatical or 6 months sabbatical or delay in exams for a student. These things are not adopted by most of the institutions in the country. If you look
Okay.
at our overall education system, the structure, pattern, and the way Board of Studies and Academic Council meetings are handled at universities, they are not very open. And as such, at their level, the decision making framework is also missing institution level, though we
Okay.
have given a policy. So, this is, in short, NISP talks about budget, it talks about uh, giving, a faculty can give 20% of the time also. Okay,
Okay.
for a startup, if faculty is coming up with that faculty startup should happen, that a complete framework or how it can be nurtured, it will be incubated in the same institute incubation center with some equity sharing of 3 to 5% or something. All this framework, and this year we are revising the policy and we are looking for some good, what we can say, inputs, and we are looking for some pro institution, pro faculty, pro student guidelines also.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll of course, again come back to you. But since Manish, you mentioned it, and I see that you were logged out and you're back. So if you can, then I would really like the audience to know how you at Bennett University, Bennett Hatchery, have implemented some of the provisions or the guidelines of NISP, because I do understand that there are faculty get some points in performance appraisal or a couple of other things. So could you throw some light on that?
Yeah. So NISP policy is implemented at Bennett University, and again, a lot of support is now there, and in fact, the output is also now there. Like you say, it's a proof of pudding, so it's already out there. We have faculty startups coming in. So we have, in fact, recently we funded a faculty startup through Startup India Seed
Oh,
Fund.
wonderful.
They approached our incubator only, and we funded. So so a lot of activity, like the faculty who are even mentoring. So, and I'd again be very happy to share that for mentoring, you coined the term, sir, hum club, hatchery upskilling and mentoring club. So it's out there running, wherein a faculty who is again nominated by students, who is exceptional in their own domain and are also interested in mentoring the startups, are part of the hum club. They mentor, they support startups from the initial stage, and if they are and they are aligning well, the startup and the mentor, they can actually go ahead and tie, they can work together, which includes even sharing of parting of mentor equity, working together. So that's in place. HR has acknowledged this, and there's a 10 point for mentors, faculties who are doing their own startups, and if they have raised some funding, external funding. So that also is part of appraisal process. A teaching staff doing his own startup and a full-time teaching staff will also get appraisal points by doing the startups. So that's there. And then there is a like the provision says that parking of some fund for the innovation purpose. So that fund is also from the operating expense of the university is out there. So that is also in place.
Excellent, excellent. So since Yogesh mentioned about really really large numbers like 3,000 plus institutions adopting that. So I just wanted to have some case studies where it is actually operational and also impactful. So thank you so much for sharing that. Ronald, I really again wish to know if you have funded any faculty startups or student startups because you're also campus based. So, any such stories?
Yeah, so student startup, yes. Faculty till now we have not done, but faculties and some of these funded startups are involved as a mentor, or in some case they have small equity also. But directly we have not funded as of now till date we have not funded faculty startup as such, but we do have funded student startups per se. And here I want to highlight one more thing. I mean, Yogesh ji and MOE is doing amazing job in making that driving that mindset among students toward entrepreneurship. But there are other departments also which are doing amazing work in supporting startups and their initial journey. So here I want to focus. I mean, highlight the amazing job which government has done. Various departments and MOE is doing great job with the higher education and school students also. Then there is MELTI, which is promoting electronics. There is IDEX, which is promoting defense-related startup. So all these departments, some way or the other, are contributing in initial journey of startup and innovation, and that's the perhaps the result which we are getting, that we have become third largest ecosystem in the world, and I think very soon we will be second largest ecosystem in the world as far as startup is concerned. So a lot of government departments are contributing, and we would have funded around 48 odd startup through various five or six government schemes supported in their initial journey. Some of them, because of this support, have gone ahead and become very big and raised fund from professional investors also. They have been part of Shark Tank. So this is what entire ecosystem is being built right from school to college to early stage startups. The entire support system is available through various incubation higher education departments and all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Coming back to Yogesh, if you're there, because you have switched off your camera, so I was just wondering whether you are available. You have got a call or something. Okay, since I have Ismail on camera, so I'll come to you first and then go to
I'm
Yogesh
very much
ji.
there, sir. Yes. No, you
Yeah, yeah, I
let's
know.
go to Ismail and then I'll come.
Okay, sure. So, what are the small little things, Ismail, sir, that faculty can do in their classes? I mean, they need not be entrepreneurship educators because not all the entire audience is not today is full of entrepreneurship educators, but they are curious about it. So, assuming that they are not entrepreneurship educators, what are the small little things that they could do in class to build that mindset, encourage the students towards entrepreneurship or startups or just being entrepreneurial? Could you
I
suggest
think,
some things?
yeah, I think there's a lot of things. One is, that you yourself start acting entrepreneur first, and that does not have to, mean that you need start doing a business. And we talked about the ulta shirt and all. You don't have to do that all the time, but the small things. So one thing that one of my colleagues here in Mahindra University, Kirti Kadam, who does, I think Yogesh knows him very well, and he has been a serial entrepreneur all his life. He has done more than 30, 40 ventures, half of them failed,
Oh,
but he keeps doing, no, and every time you ask him, he's doing something else. Even while working as an associate professor of practice here, he's still having working on two of his startups and all. So one thing I have picked up from him, every class you see his presentation, every other slide is a meme. So
oh,
he whatever topic he's talking about, if he's talking about let's say team building, he will go to Google, type team building memes, and he put some comedy meme over there, and he put that meme, and then he connect it to that meme from always, right? And that is one thing I thought that no, because that's pure marketing genius, the way you keep students engaged as a entrepreneur. So he says, I'm entrepreneurship faculty, I have to sell my course.
Yeah.
Right. So when I'm teaching a subject, also that's what he says. If I'm going to a class, I'm teaching, I'm acting as an entrepreneur. The students have to be sold onto my subject. They have to be sold onto my topic. Only when they're going to pay interest. They are not going to pay me in money, but the currency they're going to pay me is their attention. So if I want them to share out the attention, I need to give them something that they want. So small things I think like that. If you put I earlier mentioned a lot of times when I put images from the latest TV series that's going on. So I ended up watching this series called what they called it. I forgot the name, but this character called Ganesh Gaitonde in it. I think Sacred Games. I did not like it at all. It was something not of my taste, but that was very popular at that time. Every time you hear students passing in the corridor, they're talking about that. So I said, okay, Gaitonde is the main character. He has to be there. Even today in my slides, he has to be there. So I think that is one. There's a lot of small things you can do. Second, I think with the AI built in now, we have chat GPTs on and all those things in the world. So whatever subject you're teaching, even if you're teaching something on electronics, let's say I think you're introducing them to a concept of capacitor, let's say, maybe you can just ask them to write in the class, go and figure out what does a capacitor cost, what are the various kinds of capacitor available in the
Ah,
market, and what is the
okay.
costing, right? Or if I had to
Wonderful.
build this particular circuit, right, hypothetically, these are the equipment. I'll need a capacitor, probably need this LED, I'll probably need this jumper wires. How much would the cost come? And it takes just 2 minutes to go to ChatGPT to figure that out. They may not have to actually do it, but
Yes.
then they are able to connect. Because I remember doing electronics practicals in my first year in engineering, and we never knew कि ये इतना सस्ता आता है. After
Oh,
joining Symbiosis as a faculty, I figured out कि जो चीज़ इतना costly समझते थे ये तो 50 रुपए बन जाता है. Right.
oh,
So I think those small things, and just before I conclude, I would want to go back to the NEN contribution and a link. So when during my early days, I think Vishnu Priya was there in NEN when I was attending one of the faculty development programs. Ronald would know. She used to share story of a faculty somewhere down south who attended a faculty development program in entrepreneurship because the college forced him to attend. So he was not
yes.
interested. They had to nominate somebody. He came and she said that all the 3 days of FDP he kept cribbing. क्या मैं इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स फैकल्टी मेरा काम रिसर्च करना मेरा काम पब्लिक प्रोजेक्ट करना व्हाई द हेल आई एम हियर व्हाई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप आई एम नॉट इंटरेस्टेड एट ऑल एंड दे सेड दैट एट द एंड ऑफ द एफडीपी वन ऑफ द रिसोर्स पर्सन टेल सर यू डोंट हैव टू बिकम एन एंटरप्रेन्योर whatever you're teaching in the class, can you make it a little entrepreneur? And then somehow something changed. That faculty went back and he was teaching some automation ka course. So he gave a project to one of group of his students that can you automate a room in my house? And if you can do that, I'll give full marks for the project. The kids did that, and the visitors coming to the faculty's house like that, and they said, "Can you do for us?" And
Ah,
that's how it started. Eventually, in a year, those kids, along with the faculty, had a home automation business on the country,
oh, wow.
and he was
An
making more money
amazing,
from that business than his salary.
amazing story.
So I think that
Amazing
has been
story.
an inspiration for me also. That a lot of things, whatever we are doing, and the best way I think is what I would do, and I do sometimes go to ChatGPT and ask, I'm going to teach this topic today. Help me. How can I connect this to entrepreneurship? How can I make my students think entrepreneurially about this topic? It will give 10 things to do in the class.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said it. And we have heard so many such stories, Ronald, back in
Yeah,
Vadvani
yeah.
Foundation and
So one I
NEN.
remember, I met one mechanic, professor from mechanics department long time back in Symbiosis Institute, who's sitting here now, Professor Ismail. So he was from mechanical
Yeah.
department that time, and he was actively involved in that department when I met him. And we somehow dragged him toward entrepreneurship, and now he's one of the very famous and leading entrepreneurship
So one
educator
of
in
the
the
things I
country.
remember
Yeah.
before I even came into entrepreneurship, I used to teach a course called Theory of Machines, wherein we teach them how the steering mechanism of the car works and how the gears. So that was the subject. And one fine day in the class, I said, okay, there are two kinds of steering mechanism. I taught them, and I said, there are 4, 5 cars parked out in the parking lot. I want you to all to go out, get into the car, and figure out which car has which of the steering mechanisms. Initially, they were reluctant, and then they eventually, when one of them actually tried to sneak inside the car of a dean, and the security guard caught him that you're trying to steal something from the dean's car or you're trying to do damage, created a mess. But they enjoyed it. So a lot of small things, I think.
Okay, so for those who didn't actually realize that Ronald was talking about Ismail, he was a professor of mechanical engineering and then he converted to being an entrepreneurship educator. I
Practice
think
wise.
that the story is pretty much same for Yogesh ji. I mean, you were a faculty of supply chain management and then
Right.
you
Right.
converted to be an
You're all
entrepreneurship
converts.
educator. Yeah,
Baptized by Ronald
absolutely.
Fernandez.
Absolutely.
So
Okay,
for me, it
so
was Uday
Uday was there.
Bhatawala.
Bhakadwala, yeah.
He was struggling from one room to other room in Narsimunji and searching was there is a session in Somaya and nobody is interested. I'm calling people. And I asked someone, who is this guy? Why he has come? No, there is something called as so and so. There is a committee made, and two female faculty members, they were the members and said, we don't want to attend that meeting. He's calling. I said, what is that? Can I see? This is 2012. And I went and attended. And it was Prakash Mundra there.
Okay.
Blessings, yeah. Blessing is his company, yeah.
Online blessings.
Yeah.
One day session with Uday Wakawala and Prakash in 2012. And it was a good eye opener.
Oh.
I always cherish this memory with Uday also whenever I interact with him. This all started with Uday was being ignored by everyone. And I said, okay, let me spend some time. Okay, can I go?
So I think,
And
just to add to it, is this a common, they say when you are behind a cause, a common punishment bolo, yeah, some kind of a suffering or some kind of thing you have to be, is being ignored a common trait that all entrepreneurship educators have to go in the early phase? I'm just curious.
But on a lighter note, I was very happy to hear one thing out of whatever Ismail said in my early days. So, Ismail, what I am trying to say.
Okay, so it has been amazing. I mean, hearing these stories, amazing stories of not being an entrepreneurship educator to begin with, and then some trigger happening, and then you getting sucked into it, really loving it. I think almost all of us come from that kind of a background, except probably Manish here, because he comes from a family business background and had some exposure to entrepreneurship right from the beginning. So maybe we are moving slowly towards the end of this session, and the quintessential question to end any such event is any message, one message that you would want to give to the audience here. I mean, assuming they are educators primarily, there could also be students. So that one message that you would want to leave them with. So starting with Yogesh ji again, or
Yes,
if you're
sir.
not, if you need time, then I can go to someone else.
Not time, but as it is so fantastic panel led by you, and we can't leave this audience without listening to some of your interesting thoughts. So let us turn a little bit and we will stick to the time. Okay. So, sir, one question from our
Sure,
side, and
sure,
I'm
sure.
sure
Of
on
course.
behalf of the whole panel, I'm representing, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm sure the panel gives me that freedom. According to you, uh, what what exactly is an entrepreneurial mindset? Question one. And question two, when we look at entrepreneurship education in institution,
Hmm.
what exactly as an educator you expect an outcome? What kind of outcome you expect as an entrepreneurship educator or a promoter or an evangelist nowadays, like that?
So I think for me, I won't complicate this, because for me it's very very simple for an entrepreneurial mindset, because that's something that I have also focused on over the last couple of decades. Basically, it's about looking at everything as an opportunity, or looking for an opportunity in anything and everything. So if CIPU approached me with this proposal to lead this panel and gave me the freedom to choose the panelists. So I look at it as an opportunity to have a fun session with all of you. I mean, this is in a lighter vein, but I really mean it. That I mean, can we look for an opportunity in anything and everything? That opportunity may be again for anything. So for me, it's an opportunity to build more entrepreneurial mindset. For somebody else, it could be to have fun. For somebody else, it could be to look for business. So that the definition of opportunity itself might change, but to look for an opportunity in anything and everything, that I think is the biggest indicator of that entrepreneurial mindset for me. Then see, most people would probably associate risk taking with entrepreneurship, but that comes because of the glorification of entrepreneurship. But otherwise, most entrepreneurs that I have spoken to, when you ask them the question, how did you take this risk? They say, what risk? If I thought there was risk, why would I do it?
Wow.
I never thought there was a risk. That's why I did it. Am I a fool to do something which was risky? So the association of risk taking with entrepreneurial mindset is done by others who are not entrepreneurial, because they think what the entrepreneur did was risky. Entrepreneurs will never take risks. They will take at most calculated risks, but they do things because they think they're doable, not because they're risky. That is not what drives them. Because then, the best entrepreneur would be the one who takes the maximum risk, where the probability of success is less. No, they do things where the probability of success is the highest. So this risk-taking business is all glorification, and it makes for great storytelling, but it also at the same time actually discourages many people from experimenting with entrepreneurship because they think that they cannot take risks. So it actually drives people away. This glorification is not really helping. So the most important aspect for me is, can you see opportunities to do something that benefits you in some way? So as I said, and sometimes it could be just fun, or it could be making money, or it could be
Wonderful.
anything. So I think that's what really matters to me. I think there was a second part to your
Yes, sir.
question.
So, what what kind of outcome you look from an institution as an entrepreneurship educator when you are promoting entrepreneurship, teaching entrepreneurship? What kind of outcome an educator
So,
should expect?
I mean, I actually, started with that question to you, that why foster entrepreneurship? So I asked that question because that's precisely what I wanted to hear. That entrepreneurship is as a mindset is applicable in any walk of life. I mean, I'll just give you a very small example. When I completed my thesis, it was uh, just about to be printed and binding was pending, but otherwise it was ready. It was in 2014, I believe, when Modi ji took over as the prime minister. And on that day, there was a front page article, news item, whatever you may call it, that Modi as an entrepreneur in
Wow.
mint, in mint. So I actually made space for that, both in my annexure as well as in my introduction chapter, and I made that change. So even in politics, you can be entrepreneurial. And so any walk of life, I mean, nothing really stops you. You can be entrepreneurial, and that's the kind of outcome I look forward to, that when every single student and faculty and stakeholder believes that entrepreneurship is relevant in any walk of life. You can be an entrepreneurial teacher, which all of you are, and you can also be a politician. So entrepreneurial politician. So that's the outcome I really look out for. I hope I have given very concrete answer, not ambiguous, vague, or
Yes, sir.
hyperbolic.
Yes. Wonderful. And there is always something new to learn. And wonderful. Thank you so much. And I assume that other panelists do not have questions to you.
So
And I will answer
Snehal,
my part.
okay, Snehal is back on the camera, which
Yes, which
indicates
is an
that
indication.
we are very very close to the end. So let's first ask her.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we have more 10-15 minutes.
Okay, we have
Yes.
about 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So
we
I
are
had
liking to
asked
hear
for.
it from you. So please go on.
And we would also be opening it for the audience for
Yes,
questions.
right.
When does that
The
happen? After
the
the 10
chat
minutes?
box is open. Yeah, the chat box is open.
Okay.
Any participants who wish to ask questions, kindly put your questions in the chat box or raise your hands. We will unmute you.
Okay. So yeah, Yogesh, I mean, you were going to, give that one parting message.
Yes. So the message is uh, when people think about entrepreneurship, they talk about ideas. When students talk about ideas, when startups think about new ideas, there is always as an attached terminology or word to it. And I know why there is a smile on Ismail's face. He knows what I'm going to talk. And there is something called as funding. Everybody talks about. Okay. Uh, I'm not against funding. And but the thing is something which you spoke about risk taking, which is too much glorified, and it was actually really great to listening to those concentrated sentences from you. Similarly, funding is something which is misguiding young students, our incubation managers also, and I'm sure Ronald sir would agree this. The young, we are actually not having a young, very good incubation managers in the country, the trained ones for next. So that is misguiding faculty educators. Funding is misguiding student innovators and incubation managers also. So my humble submission to this audience and those who are going to listen to this is let us not link it directly that you have an idea and then there is a funding attached. There is a lot more to work on that idea with the passion and the mission. Mission, when I say, I mean not social service, solving that particular problem and maybe creating wealth out of it. So you're creating a product or a service, and then you can think of funding maybe little later on. Attaching immediately funding to it, it discourages the whole process or it disturbs the whole process of entrepreneurship. Okay, on working on that idea. This is what I truly means. I feel it, and I really want to talk to n number of people, and I keep talking to people. And the second thought, you ask one, the second, because we have a lot of faculty, and everybody says that we want to. So people are thinking incubator is a physical infrastructure. Though we sit in a physical infrastructure, people think that incubator has to be mandatorily be funded by government of India, some department, DST, DBT, MIT, or some other department, and it has to be a physical, and then we want to, and then we will kickstart, and then we will fund our startups. And that whole process, they call it incubation. No, it is very wrong. Without having that, one entrepreneurial mindset in a college, one champion, faculty champion, or institutions innovation council kind of initiative, you can start pre-incubating ideas, support them, give them a path, give them direction, let them sell their product internally, and you are incubating them. It doesn't require anybody's, any external force or trigger kind of funds also. So this is my message. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And a very, very powerful message that, because, the whole funding narrative has kind of, created that expectation that, if you have funding, then you have an incubator. And these have been kind of, almost become synonymous. So thank you so much. So, Ronald, any last message, parting message?
Yeah, so my message would be, for the entrepreneurship educators also and for the students also, uh, develop a solution which solves a problem. I mean, look for problems rather than, develop a solution, because I see a lot of college going students develop something which is for them important, but perhaps that's not solving, problem. It's not a big enough problem. So keep on looking for problems and become a problem solver. Develop your entrepreneurship idea and your startup around a problem which is big enough to be solved, and definitely then you will be more successful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Because you spoke about, problem solving and identification of problems. I have a question that, which is a bigger skill, identifying the problem or developing a solution?
You got me there. Yeah, I think both are important. First is definitely identifying a problem actually, and then so I said, as I always say, ki you should have some unfair advantage. I mean, you could identify a problem. Perhaps you are perhaps not the right person to solve that problem.
Ah,
To identify that problem, and you should have some unfair advantage. Like if you're developing a IT solution, you should have some knowledge about IT.
IT.
No, so that's what I focus on. So identify problem, then develop a solution where you are more capable of, that solving that problem. What makes you
Okay.
the right person to solve that problem? Yeah.
Okay, but you have tempted me to answer that question for
Please,
myself, because
please.
you could hire somebody to develop a solution, but it's very difficult to hire somebody to identify a problem. So uh, uh, So that's my answer. That maybe identifying a problem is a bigger skill. Yes, Yogesh.
Recently, I found a spiritual answer to it. So, तुम कौन होते हो solve करने वाले? So, every problem solution is already there. To identify the problem and narrow down to that problem is the toughest thing. Solution तो वो दे चुका है.
Oh,
Like that.
okay. I know. I mean, it's only in the spiritual space that you're talking about. Ismail, that I'll give you the last word. So in between I'll go to Manish. Manish, are you there? Uh, I mean, I can see you're there, but are you in a position to respond? One last
Yes, yes,
message. Okay, great. Yes.
yes. So, I've written it on my LinkedIn, and it's a common thing I always say: start something. And one thing I'd like to add here is take ownership. Because when we talk about mindset and entrepreneurial
Ah,
mindset, I feel one of the important aspect that we all have to take. Be it as a startup, as a faculty, or be as an Indian, as a citizen of India, we all need to take ownership. The day we take ownership, we have already started something, maybe in
wow.
our own space.
Amazing. Wonderful. Wonderful point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Ismail, I promised you the last word. So there you go.
So before I go with that, just continuing with the discussion about problem and solution, just want to add my 2 cents to it. So I normally talk about this example of doctors. Two doctors both having education from the same top institute, and both of them have all the knowledge about all the medicines. So if they know, okay, yeah, this XYZ is a disease, this is the medicine I should give, right? And what makes a better doctor? If you go and say this doctor is very good, he's treating. It's not his knowledge of medicine, because all the doctors have the knowledge of medicines. If not, they can Google it, they can chat GPT it, the AMAs will fill them in. Is the doctor who has a better skill of diagnosing the disease, right? So the one who can diagnose the disease very well, predict that, now identify the disease, is a doctor who's a better doctor than others, because medical knowledge of medicines, all of them are the same. So I think the same applies here, that if you can diagnose that problem well, as you said, medicine to koi bhi chat GPT pe bhi dal do कि I have this symptoms, this is my diagnosis. Even chat GPT, I had this fracture in my hand, I just put the MRI images to chat GPT, and it gave me entire 1 month ka plan what you should be doing or what you should not. But it took a doctor to identify what the problem was in my hand. Because once I
Ah,
did that, the solution came from ChatGPT as well. So I think what you said is very important. And to conclude, I think one thing I would like to say is that as educators, I think we need to understand, and I think somehow in this race for projects, publications, and patents, 3 Ps I call it, the 3 Ps of dooms. I call in this race, project, publication, and patents. We have forgotten that our role as educator is not just to go into the class and teach the syllabus and the content. That's a part of the job, right? The larger job, I read somewhere, that the purpose of education is to build a character. So same way, I think our goal as educator is to help the students build a good life, right? It's not just to teach them that capacitor or this mathematical equation, my syllabus, right? So while that's a part of the job, that is what I'm being paid for. But the larger purpose is that, and if that larger purpose has to be solved, over period, no matter what skills you teach them today, at some point those skills will get outdated, the degrees will expire, the technologies that you teach today, 5 years down the line, they will be of no use to them, right? So whatever technically what skills you teach, and that's why we have complained with the education system also. So all this will get outdated, skills, degrees, technologies, they will change, they will emerge. But if you are able to imbibe the entrepreneurial mindset in them, that legacy will live with them. And then if you are empowering with the entrepreneurial mindset, you are giving them a compass, not a map. So I think that was
wow.
what our job should be.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I was right in giving
Wonderful,
you the
Ismail.
last word. With due respect to everybody's last message.
So we have one participant who's raised hands,
Two.
Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
There are two actually.
Yeah. So Radha Krishna, I am
Kenny Patel.
unmuting you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to answer? Yeah. Would you like to ask the question, Radha?
RK sir. Sir, he is the youngest participant of our FDP that we did in March.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Youngest by heart, not by age.
Okay. Okay. We also have Kenny
You are
Patel.
on mute. Could you please unmute yourself and ask question?
Permit no. I'll be switching on my video also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the same photograph, no? Ismail sir has posted
Yes.
in a different attire. Thank you so much, sir. I have got the opportunity to listen to Vinod Shastri sir also. And for 1 week, we are being pampered. We cannot say it is we are being pampered. We are being tortured to become the entrepreneur. So now I have become the entrepreneur.
Oh, wow.
Ismail sir has conducted the FDP. Now I am retired, but not tired, sir. And now I have become the freelancer motivational speaker.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
I
congratulations.
want few hints also from you. I also use it to disrupt in my class, and I have learned more of disruption in that 1 week FDP, which is being conducted in the month of March. I think you also took one online session, sir. We have the photograph that is very close to our heart,
Yes, I did.
and
So, what's your
yes.
question, Radha sir?
Yes, sir. That question is now how do I scale up actually? Now I am just doing aggressive only through WhatsApp and all that. I have become the motivational speaker, yeah, and posting my photographs and then videos to the people. But how do I scale up such that I'm able to reach out to uh, larger audience, such that all my energies, enthusiasm.
Amongst us, the person who has the largest audience is Yogesh Brahmankar, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
he is sitting there, and he has. I mean, I don't know how many followers on his MOE, MIC website
I
as well.
request the Yogesh sir also to provide the opportunity because I have learned so many things because as an educator for the last 6 years, entrepreneurship, as well as I know how to inspire the youth. I mean, it's not that inspire the youth. I can put the things of the entrepreneurial mindset in their minds with all my kind of antics or whatever. A lot of innovation is there, sir. Don't think that I'm boasting. I have learned few. I have learned through FDP as well as I have my own antics. So, and I have the content also. So that's what, sir. I am requesting all the audience as well as the panelists, esteemed panelists, Yogesh sir also try to take my services wherever I can be fit.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I
so
think
that's being entrepreneurial. So, Ismail sir, your FDP has succeeded. Now he's taking the opportunity wherever it is available.
and in
Okay.
turn, our FDP has succeeded. It was
Yes.
our program.
You,
Yes, sir.
your FDP was success the moment you sanction it to AIC, RNTU, Bennett, and Mahindra.
Yeah.
All three are here. Oh my God.
Okay, so maybe Radha sir, we can take this a bit offline because it's very specific about your
No. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
activity. We'll take it offline. And I think Kenny
Yeah,
Patel was
Kenny
there.
had raised
Thank you so
hand,
much. Thank you.
and
Yes.
also we had Sandhya Ingre who raised the hand.
Okay, sure. So if you can give them the
Yeah,
access.
I have given. Sandhya, can you hear us?
She's not there, I think. No, she's there, but she doesn't have the
Yes.
access. She's still in attendees.
No,
Sir, we have given her the
yes,
access.
Sandhya,
Okay.
Yeah.
you can
And there is
unmute
one
yourself.
request, sir, at the end, if it permits.
Yes, of course.
We would like to have a photograph with all the panelists, sir, if possible.
Sure, of course.
Sandhya, you can unmute yourself and ask question. Yes, Sandhya, you're audible.
Yes, good evening to all of you, first of all. And this is a very nice session. We got lots of infos where we can guide our students. I just want to quickly have one question like, what are the key qualities of the entrepreneurial mindset that students should develop during their university years? A few qualities where we can guide our students.
I think we have, thank you so much for that question and the curiosity. So curiosity is one of the, qualities, obviously. And so you seem to have that in plenty. And as you know, I mean, somebody said about ownership. Manish spoke about ownership, and we spoke about problem identification, the ability to identify problems worth solving, and whether you are able to actually, get the solution or not. I mean, these are my, observations from the entire discussion that we had. But others, if they want to add something, then please go ahead. Ronald, Ismail, if you want to add something.
Yeah, so apart from that, taking initiative, that's one thing which is coming to my mind. Rest, I think already you have already covered. Problem solver, we have already discussed that.
Yes,
Those kind of attitude can be developed in college days.
sure.
Open for experimentation. That
Yeah,
is one
true, true.
Hmm.
we provide.
So just to when Yogesh says experimentation, just to add to it, and that's one thing that I like to do. I don't know by nature, is there a manufacturing defect or what, but just try to keep pushing yourself to do things that are uncomfortable, right? So whenever you feel an opportunity, I take it as a challenge. कुछ तो नया करने मिल रहा है. I know people will look, and there's a book by this Seth Godin called The Purple Cow. That how do you stand? So never miss an opportunity to be a purple cow. Yesterday I was just passing. There's some problem in my office right now. I'm not sitting in my office because in my office, to not corner, because of rains, there's this dark mold and something of fungus has taken care. So I'm not able to sit there because it creates health issues. I've been behind the infra team for the past 20 days. Every 2 days I'm calling, please take care of it. Sir, abhi karte, we'll do tomorrow, we'll do tomorrow. Yesterday I saw that guy sitting at the reception. I went and I sat down on the floor. धरना देके बैठ गया जमीन के ऊपर. I said, unless you call the guy and send him to my office, I'm not getting out of here. And he's like, "Arey, sir, you are the CEO, you're sitting on the floor, sir. Please, please, I'm calling." 10 minutes, my problem was solved. So I'm like, "ठीक है." Sometimes.
Okay, thank you so much. So, is there any other questions, Sandhya ji, that you have?
Yes, Dr. Prajakta.
Thank you, sir.
Prajakta, the entrepreneur herself. Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Prajakta.
Hello. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes. You are very much audible.
I'm not able to put my video on. I don't know. But hello, everyone. It's great to hear you all.
Your
And
voice is
thank you
not
so much.
very clear, Dr. Prajakta.
Okay. Um, hello.
You can try
Is it
speaking louder,
better?
maybe.
Hello. Is it better?
Yeah, this is slightly better.
Okay. So, sir, first of all, it was great, refreshing session, and thank you so much that you remember me still, that I'm the
Of
one.
course, I don't forget entrepreneurs so easily. Yeah, though we have never
Thank you,
met.
thank you.
We have never met. Yeah.
Yeah, but we did speak over call at that time, and you had given me your wonderful time. So thank you
Yes.
so much. Yes, and the one thing which I would like to ask is to you, and as well as to the other panelists as well, if they would be interested in giving an answer to this. So the way you said, I'm already an entrepreneur, and but to be an entrepreneurial educator, what do you think are the different set of skills which a person would like to develop or would be having, so that that person can become an entrepreneurial educator as well? Because being an entrepreneur doesn't actually mean that you can also have the entrepreneurial educator skills. So. Uh,
I
can you please throw some light on this?
I think
Thank
you
you.
are already an entrepreneur. Otherwise, I would have said that you have to shed or accept that being an entrepreneur is important to be an entrepreneurship educator. That, but you are already an
Which
entrepreneur,
was
so
a
you
which
are.
was a which was a I think discussion which started with this, where Manish he had already answered to this question that yes, definitely it's an upper hand when you are an entrepreneur. But the question is, it's like what kind of different sets or skills also I should have, and another thing is there any actual course available where you get to learn this, or um, like what all things you can develop, like step wise, if there is a proper platform available where we can develop these entrepreneurial educator skills.
Yeah, I think Ismail sir keeps doing these, wonderful FDPs every once in a while. So you can always join his program. So now I am marketing your program.
I don't mind doing it every once in a while as long as MO keeps funding them.
So yeah, I mean,
Good.
no, I
Yeah,
meant it. I
yeah.
mean, though I said it in a lighter vein, I actually meant it. The Professor Ismail, keeps organizing faculty development programs once in a while, and even if he's not organizing, he's being invited to so many faculty development programs on entrepreneurship. So you can keep in touch with him. He will tell you, where there is an FDP happening, and you can definitely attend those. And these could be, from 1 day, 2 days, 1 week to even longer. So as per the time available, you could do them. I wouldn't really, recommend anything that is in the MOOC form, but anything that has live sessions. So that should be, good enough. So nothing against MOOCs, but since you, specifically asked about entrepreneurship education, I felt that, live sessions are more effective. It's not a technical thing that, you're learning.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, I have another question for Yogesh, sir. Sir, since he is in Ministry of Education cell for higher education and schools as well. So, sir, you were saying, talking about cultural interventions, what the MOE is working upon. So, I just had one question, curious question. Definitely, I do not have much knowledge of it. But considering today's Gen Z or uh, would be entrepreneurs, which we are talking about, like future of India. What kind of not just the cultural aspects or the in-depth fundamental skills which they need to have even in their day-to-day life. There are so many things that they lack right now in children. This I'm talking from a parent point of view also, not just from an entrepreneur point of view, but they lack these things, and there are very rare programs available in education which will support such kind of an entrepreneurial mindset in near future after few years when they will actually need these fundamental things in their lifestyle rather, I would say. So is there anything that we can do about this on this bigger platform at national level, or is there already something ongoing which we are not aware of and we as parents can opt to for our children? Thank you.
It's very vast topic and very broad question, but Shastri sir, I will still attempt. And Prajakta, thank you so much for maybe being curious about such a big critical aspect. I don't know. As I mentioned, it's very vast and there is no fixed answer to it. But there are so many things happening. And first, let me cut the question into the first part. When I say cultural intervention, because our country is very huge, so initiatives which we are doing are 100x times of any incubator which Ronald sir or Ismail sir is doing. Just only it is 100x or 1000x. And as it is at national level, we have to think of a broad, and that's why we call it as a cultural intervention, because then we are enablers of enablers. Now let us connect this enabling to your next part of the question. So what role as such ministry per se, because I'm not concerned with other departments of but
Sorry
yes,
to
we are
interrupt you,
part
sir.
of.
Sorry to interrupt. I will just clarify my question because when you said cultural intervention, you had mentioned like how you want a person from a different zone or from a very far away cities or village to travel to a particular place so that they can come out of their comfort zone and everything. You said that even from their whatever their holdback is there in their behavior, and then they should become the part of the team. So that's how there are behavioral changes or the respective advantage which you want to give to the students. In that aspect, I was asking, like, what about their fundamentals?
Okay. So I'll finish it in 2 minutes. I know we might be running out of the time, but as it is vast, so again, one aspect of cultural is what you actually presume. The other aspect of cultural intervention is that uh, it's all about recovering or covering the resistance of institutions traditional teaching methods, teachers, parents, families. And that's where, while we are bringing these new projects, programs, opportunities, that's where we call it cultural intervention, because this is open up and then people say, oh, ऐसे भी होता है. This is also is there, and that's one part of cultural intervention which we presume when we say. Fine. Coming to how what is that we can take. So there is the thing is that it's about too much information. We are loaded with too much information, and there are so many other aspects which you mentioned about Gen Z, how they will take care. It can be related to moral education, it can be related to decision making, it can be related to emotional well-being. I think these are some of the things. It can be related to life skills. I think these are the some of the things which you would like to point when you are asking this question. I think there are so many things available to different initiatives of ministry, but ultimately, when it comes to a person, it is one educational institute and it is one family or parent or a group of family. How it reaches there, and our job at ministry is to reach up to the educational institution, and that's where we call it that we are enablers of enablers, and we are into culture. So I think through Indian knowledge systems, through in schools, Samagra Shiksha, emotional well-being, there are different programs are going. Every school now is having a psychological counselor compulsory. Uh, there are many other initiatives which are being run through ministry. Okay, we are sensitizing faculty also, leadership of the institutions also on different aspects. Nowadays, AICT, where we sit and operate, has started sending faculty member for 6 months to industry. This is going to change the whole thing. It is going to be a shocker for the institutions. Okay, initially. So many other things are going to happen. So this is one way I'm telling. Then there is industry fellowship. There are different internship opportunities. And maybe see, there is no fixed answer to what you ask, but I will say, other means if there are enough opportunities, it's more about channelizing energy. Many times I have written on Smart India Hackathon about that. It is one of the initiative to channelize the energy of our youth. Okay, and if you channelize the energy, okay, and in politics they talk in other way. I will use that also here. अगर पेट भरा है ना, okay, somewhere somebody said, okay, पेट भरा है तो हाथ में पत्थर नहीं आएगा, बंदूक नहीं आएगी. Okay, let us combine these two things. Okay, so we have to channelize the energy and we have to see that they do something meaningful. When I say paid bara, I mean they do something meaningful for themselves. Okay, and I think we cannot leave it up to parents कि parents ने करना चाहिए. I do not mean that. Okay, or institution ने करना चाहिए. Okay, but yes, what you are mentioning, it going to be need of our country, that there would be macro and micro level interventions would be required, and we might require, because see, tomorrow the people who will be in the age of 25 to 45 would be in more than 40 millions, and we will have bigger challenges to be solved. Thanks for pointing out. As I already mentioned, so I just attempted to say something on it as a perspective, not as an answer. Okay.
Thank you so much, Yogesh. And I think we are seriously running out of time here. We have already overshot. So thank you so much to each one of you, Yogesh, Ronald, Ismail sir, and Manish, and of course, all the wonderful participants for staying back longer as well. And we started with, I said there are three things that I would really, like to achieve through this chat. One was to bust a few myths, then know about a few best practices, and also at the end feel a little more empowered to foster entrepreneurial mindset in our own environment. So I hope Snehal has to probably, certify it that we have achieved these three objectives and outcomes from this. And thank you once again, and thank you so much, CIPU team. You have been amazing in organizing this and as well as promoting this and getting people in the room here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, and for having us here. And thank you so much, Sipu and Snail, for coordinating everything. Really enjoyed.
Radha sir wanted a picture. I don't know,
Could we take it?
Yes, sir, please.
You would have taken it, I think.
I would request you all to smile so I take a screenshot.
तो आखिर में इस्माइल बोलना ही पड़ता है.
Take it, yeah. So I would request Akshay to please. Oh, I'll again take a screenshot because I can see Manish sir joining back again.
Oh, yeah.
So
Thank you
smile,
so much,
please.
Manish.
Yes, got it. I would request Akshay to please give the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Snehal. So, heartfelt thank you to our dynamic panelists for sharing such inspiring insights on fostering entrepreneurial mindset amongst faculty and students. Your energy and expertise made this session truly engaging. Big thank you to as well to all the participants for your active involvement and thoughtful questions. You kept the spirit of entrepreneurship alive throughout. So, as a part of Confederation of Indian Private Universities, we would look forward to more such a vibrant dialogues and welcoming you to our next webinars. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.